In this video, we'll see how to install Jira along with the Postgres database using Helm charts. So as we all know that Jira software is an agile project management tool that supports any agile methodology like Scrum, Kanban, etc. So this video is not about understanding Jira. So this video is all about how to deploy Jira using the Helm charts and how to configure it to use Postgres as the database. So before moving forward, let us try to create a Minikube cluster. I am in my Mac, so I'll be using Minikube cluster to deploy Jira. So I'll be creating a two node cluster because I wanted to deploy more than one instance of the Postgres. So I'll be using Minikube start to start the Minikube cluster, and I'll be using a value hyphen hyphen nodes. So if you don't know what is the exact flag to be used, you can use minikube start hyphen hyphen help to get various help options. So it is hyphen hyphen nodes equal to the number of nodes that you wanted to be a part of the minikube cluster. So it is minikube start hyphen hyphen nodes is equal to 2. So I wanted to create two different nodes. So you have to give the password as well. So my two node cluster is up and running. So if I just do minikube node list, I can see two different nodes. So one is minikube and the other one is minikube M02. And at the same time, I should also have the Helm CLI and kubectl CLI installed. So if you use kubectl version, so you can see that I have the kubectl installed, which is version 1.21. At the same time, if you do Helm version, I also have the Helm CLI installed, which is version 3.6.3. Maybe this is not the latest version, but this is just enough to download the Helm chart for the Jira. So now let us now go to the artifacthub.io and see which chart for Jira to be downloaded. So I'll go to artifacthub.io and then search for Jira. So there are some official ones and there are also third party ones. So this is the official version of the Jira chart, but this official version doesn't have any Postgres chart as a dependency in the chart.yaml file. So we'll use a different one from MOX. So this is the chart that I'm going to use. So just click on this, and this is from the user Mox. So the software name is Jira-software. And as you can see, in order to install the Jira chart, I have to add the repo using Helm repo add Mox, and this is the URL to the repo. And at the same time, so there are different instructions on how to install the chart and what are the and various other options to enable or disable the Postgres. So this is one more command where we use Helm install to install the Jira, and at the same time I can also replace the default Postgres password and the replication password by using hyphen hyphen set. And then so these are the various global parameters supported in the values.yaml file, and these are the various Jira related parameters. So as you can see, we can also have various pull secrets, pull policies set in the values.yaml file. And these are the dependencies. Since this chart, Jira chart depends on Postgres as the database. So we also have the Postgres related parameters. So if you want to enable Postgres, so you have to set this Postgres.enable flag to true. If you set it to false, Postgres chart won't be installed. In that case, Jira has to be connected to an external running database, probably in on-prem or cloud-based databases like RDS. So these are the various parameters. So we'll see them once we download the particular chart from this repository. So what I'll do is I'll first take this command helm repo add to add this repository. So I'm in my terminal. So I'll use helm repo. So I'll use helm repo add to add the repository. So this mocks repository is already added. So I can just do helm repo update. So to update the index of the repositories. And then instead of installing directly, what I'll do is I'll first download it. So I'm going to create a new folder called Jira in the or I'll switch to downloads folder, and then I'll create a new folder called Zira. I'll switch to this directory, and then I'll use Helm pull to pull the chart first. So in order to pull it, I need to pull it with a particular name, which is mock/Zira software. So by default, it will pull the latest chart version. So I don't have to mention the version of the chart. So the chart is pulled. So it is in the TZZ format. So I can use star minus XVZF to untar it. So as you can see, it is untarred. Then I will go to Zira software. So you can see the various files and directories inside this chart. So what I'll do is I'll quickly open my VS Code, and then I'll see how to modify this particular chart. So I'll go to the downloads, and then this is where I have downloaded. So this is the Zira software. I'll just right click on it and then open with VS Code. So this is the complete chart for the Zira software. So as you can see, there is a subcharts directory. Inside it, I have I think this is the Postgres chart. So this is charts.postgres. So Postgres is by default, it is included in the Zira software. So if I open the chart.yaml file, so this is the Helm 3 chart, and then API app version is 8.20.1. Dependencies, as you see, Postgres, and also there is a condition called Postgres enabled. So if Postgres is enabled, then this dependency will be downloaded, and the version of Postgres that we are using is 9.1. And these are the various maintainers and the name of the chart information. Okay, then we'll go to values.yaml file to see various YAMLs. But before going to values, we'll see what are the various objects present for the Zira software. So we have the config map, and then we have the deployment. So this is the Zira deployment, and then there is an ingress file. So that means that we also have an option to integrate these ingress rules to an ingress controller. So we'll see how to download and install ingress controller, which is a traffic ingress controller, and then PVC secret service, and then service account. So let us now go to the values.yaml file and see if we can modify anything in this file. So this is the image, which is Atlassian Jira software 80.20.1 version, and pull policy if not present, and pull secret. So by default it is an empty, because directly these images are available from the Docker Hub. So if you have any external Docker registries, then you have to give the pull secrets by uncommenting this line and giving the pull secret name. So in this case, we can create a secret called as a Docker secret, or Docker pull secret, as I guess. So you can just go to the web and then you can search for secret for Docker registry, and then you can select this. So you can go to pull an image from the registry. So you have to create a registry secret like this. So there are multiple ways. So you can also use this type of secret, which is Docker registry secret, and this is the name of the Docker registry secret, which is regcred. So once you create the secret with this information, you have to take this name, and then you have to put it here in the pull secrets, and then name override and full name override, service accounts, security context, and then so internally this Jira is exposed as cluster IP on port 8080, and then by default ingress is disabled, so enabled it is false. So what we'll do is we'll first enable it so that ingress rules will be enabled, and at the same time the host is Jira server.local. So if you have a certain DNS name, you can put. So for time being, we'll leave it like this. And also we have TLS. So if you have any TLS secrets created, you have to uncomment these lines, and then give the proper TLS secret names. And these are the resources values. Replica count is 1, so I'm okay with it. And then persistence, I'm making it as true. So if persistence is not selected, PVCs won't be created. And also storage class. So this is very important for creating PVCs. So if you go to the Minikube cluster, and then if you check for any storage classes, so Minikube creates default storage classes. If you do kubectl create, or if you get kubectl get sc, so as you can see that Minikube has created a default storage class which is named standard, and this is marked as default. So if you do kubectl get sc and then standard output in the YAML, so you'll get complete information about this storage class. So this is a default one, that's the reason why. So this is marked as default storage class dot kubernetes.io is default class. This is set to true. So in case if you are using standard as the name, or if you use default as the name, so it is going to point to the same thing. So now what we'll do is we'll use this name. So in this case it is standard. So I can take the standard word and then I can put it here in case of the storage class which is standard. So my PVCs will be created. So this is one change that we are going to do. In your cluster you have to use the proper PVC name there. And Postgres, if you see, this is enabled. So if it is not enabled, then you have to connect to a external database. So by default it is true. If you are making it as a false, make sure that you enter these database connection details like the host details, the username, the password, and the database, etc. So these are the external database connections if Postgres is disabled. If Postgres is enabled, so it will by default it will connect to this URL. So this host is properly set because this indicates the internal Postgres database that we are going to deploy as a part of this chart. So if you have an external connection, do make the modifications according. So these are the various changes that we need to do here. So let's see if we can make any changes later. Okay, and if you go to the charts of the Postgres, again there is a chart.yaml file. So this is for the Postgres. And then if you go to the values.yaml file, I'm sorry, this is not here, this one. So this is the values.yaml file. So this is for the Postgres chart. So if you see, we are under the subcharts inside the values.yaml file. So these are the various values, and these are the global values for the complete Postgres chart. So here also if you see, there are image pull secrets and storage classes which are commented out. So I can uncomment this and I can give standard as the default storage class which my minikube has created for me. And this is the image that Postgres is going to use, the pull policy and pull secrets. So if you are uncommenting this, you don't have to put it in the global, but if you are uncommenting the global values, so the same will be considered as the pull secret for the complete Postgres chart. So it is up to you to define it in the global level, or you can also modify it according to the at this particular level, which is here. And also going forward, so it is and then yeah, so replication. So here we can have multiple databases in the master slave configuration. So if you are opting for multiple databases or multiple instances of the Postgres, and if you want to enable the replication between them, so you have to enable it as true. So if it is disabled, only master will be deployed. If it is set to true, then slave will also be deployed. So you have an option to select number of slaves. Since I'm running minikube and I'm low on resources, I'm making it as one. And then so we yeah, so that is the overall configuration needed. And internally this Postgres is also exposed as cluster IP on 5432 port, and persistence is enabled. So I think we are done with the configuration for the Postgres as well. So these are the various changes in both the YAML files, values.yaml files for the Postgres and the Zira deployment. And we also know that Zira has an ingress rules, and the ingress rules are, and we also have the host value defined in the values.yaml file which is Zira local. So that means that I have to deploy the ingress controller also. So let us now go to the artifact hub and search for the traffic. So traffic is an ingress controller which I heavily use. So if I go to this traffic, and this has to be pulled from this repository. So instead of adding it manually and then pulling it, what I'll do is, so I'll open the main chart which is Zira chart, and I'll go to the chart.yaml file and see here there is a dependency section. So I'm going to add one more dependency. So the name of the dependency is traffic. and then the version of the traffic that I wanted to pull, and the repository information. So the version, I can go to the artifact hub and take the new version, which is 10.6.2. I'm going to paste it in the version section, and then at the repository section I can just take the repository name, and then I can enter it here and then just save this chart.yaml file. So this traffic will also, just remove this extra dot over here, so this traffic will also be installed. But in order to install this traffic, by default this traffic will exposed as load balancer. So I also have to enable the MetalLB, which is an on-prem load balancing solution. So if I just do minikube add-ons list, so I can see different add-ons which are enabled. So we have the default storage class enabled, but if you do if you see MetalLB is not installed, not enabled, so I can use minikube add-ons enable MetalLB. So then I can just configure it with the load balancing IPs. So before that I'll use minikube IP to get the minikube IP address range. So this is my minikube IP. So now what I'll do is I'll configure the MetalLB using minikube add-ons configure MetalLB to give a range of load balancer IPs. So I'll give the first load balancer IP as 64.10 because 64.7 is my IP of the minikube master node, and then as the ending I would just give 20. So in between 10 to 20 it will assign any load balancer IPs of for any service which is exposed as load balancer. So now my load balancing solution is also ready, and my chart is also ready. So what we'll do is, so we'll just go one step back and then use helm install. The name of the release I wanted to give it as Zira, and then I will give the folder where Zira chart is there, and also I'll use hyphen debug to see the debugging information. And if you want to install Jira in a separate namespace, you can also create one, and then use helm install hyphen n and the namespace which you have just created, any namespace, and then you can run the same command. So for now I'm installing it in the default namespace, so I'll just click on enter. So what it is saying, so it is saying uh, you have mentioned traffic as the dependency, but it is missing. Yes. So what we have to do is, so first we'll see the dependency list of my Helm chart. So how do I do it? So it is Helm dependency list and the folder where my charts are there. So there are two dependencies. One is the traffic and the other one is PostgreSQL. PostgreSQL is available and it is in unpacked, but the traffic is missing. So what I'll do, I'll use Helm dependency update and then give the folder. So it is going to pull all the required dependencies and then it will put in the subcharts directory. It is now pulling the traffic chart. And now if you do help dependency list, so you can see that both the dependencies are okay. That means that both are satisfied. And then if I run the same command, which is helm install and then hyphen debug, so it is saying waiting for 9 resources which timeout. So now what it is saying, unable to build Kubernetes object from release manifest, unable to recognize this part for kind ingress v1 beta 1. So currently the ingress version is v1, it is not v1 beta 1. So we'll go to the ingress and then we'll try to make some modifications. So as you see, the API version is v1 beta 1. I'm going to remove beta 1. Okay, and also I'm going to remove this Kubernetes version if conditions also. This if condition and also this complete till the end condition. I'm going to put only a one API version, which is networking.k8s.io/v1. Just save this chart and try to install it one more time. So now what it is saying, Validation error, ingress spec rules 1 HTTP missing required field paths. Okay, so required field path is missing, and as you see, this rules, this is from the older version, so this particular syntax is not the newer version. So if you go to the official documentation, you can also see the latest version of the ingress rules that we need to follow. So I already have the file that I have opened it. So it should be like this. It should be HTTP paths. So I wanted to copy this one for the reference, and then I'll go to the chart and then I'll just paste it here so that I can delete it later. So it is host HTTP paths. So it is host HTTP paths, and also for the backend, so it should be service name port number. So it should be service, and then should be service, and then it should be name service colon. So the name it will automatically take from the full name, and then it is port and number. So it is not service anymore, it is just the port with small p, and then in the next line it should be number. So port number, this is fine, and also there should be prefix for the path. So we'll see if this is needed. And yeah, so backend service name and port number, yes, so this is according to the latest syntax. So I'll just comment this part and then go to the terminal and then try to install one more time. So this time what it is saying, unexpected end. So creating one resource, unexpected end. So let's go to the chart and see where is this unexpected end. So we haven't missed anything. So let us remove this complete part. Probably that is creating an error. Try to render it one more time. Then this time it is saying validation error missing paths required path. Okay, so where is this path? So as you see, this path is missing. So from where it is coming? So it is coming from the values.yaml file. Yeah, so if you see the path, we have not given any path inside this array. So it should be slash. And then let's try to render it one more time. Now again, one more error. It is saying path type is not found. So we already had this path type. So this is the path type, which is prefix, which is just above your path. So I'll go to chart again, go to ingress file, and then just above it, you can just put this path type as prefix, then save it. So now what we'll do again, we'll go to the terminal and see if it is installing now. Yeah, so now it is successfully installed. So if you just see the kubectl get pod, so there are 3 pods creating. If it is service, so as you see, traffic, Jira traffic is exposed as a load balancer. Okay, so the traffic controller, ingress controller is exposed as load balancer on this IP address. So there is a Jira software database headless read. Okay, for reading there is one service created for writing headless, because for reading we can read from any of the instances of the Postgres, but for writing we need to write it only to the master. So that's why there is an headless service. And then if you just see the kubectl get pvc, so there should be 3 pvcs created. So one is for the master instance and the other one is a slave instance, because we have enabled replication to be true and only one slave replica. And then there is a pvc for Jira software home. And then if you also see the stateful sets, so there is a stateful set called database master and one for the database slave. And if you just check the ingress, so there is one ingress rule and the host is Jira server local. So let us now see the pods whether they are up or not. So three of them are running and Jira main pod is still in the initialization state. But what we'll do is we'll try to map this ingress controller's IP address with the DNS name of the Jira software. So let me take this ingress controller's public IP, sorry, the load balancer IP. Then let me open the etc/host file to create a dummy DNS entry. And then let us add the load balancer IP of your traffic ingress controller, which is a load balancer IP. And at the same time, it will also route the traffic from this DNS Jira server.local. So let me save this file. So let us confirm. Yeah, it is Jira server.local. So let's see whether pods are up or not. So the first one, Jira software, it is in the pod initialization state. So let us use kubectl describe and pod to see why it is still in the initialization state. So as you see, it is still trying to pull this Atlassian Jira software image. Probably this image is of bigger size, so that's why it is taking a lot of time. Yeah, so everything is started. If you just do kubectl get pod, so everything is up and running. Now I can go to the browser. Since we already have dummy DNS, so I can just use Jira server.local. Okay, so I have to use HTTP as well, and then the path prefix, which is slash. Yeah, so Jira is up and running now. So it will take some time to load all the apps. So let's wait. Jira is now ready to start and it will load the starting page in some time. So now we can give the application title. So in my case, I'm just leaving it as Jira, and mode of access, I'm changing it to public, and this is the base URL. Click on next. So now Jira is asking for a license key. So if you have a license key, you can enter it here or request for a new trial license from the Atlassian site. So you can click on this hyperlink over here, or else what I'll do is I'll directly go to the Atlassian website where I have the account, and then click on my user account, click on licenses, and then click on new trial license here. So then you select the product as Jira Software, click on Jira Software Data Center, change the organization name, you can leave it as own also, and then give the server ID. So copy it from the installation page to here, click on generate license, and once your license is generated, just copy it from here, go to the setup page and paste your license over here. Click on next.
That's it for this video, guys. If you like our video, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and joining our Facebook group. The links are given in the description below. You can also scan the QR codes being displayed in this video. And for any training requirements, you can join our Telegram channel where we post regular updates on our upcoming trainings. You can also WhatsApp us on the number being shown here. You can also drop us an email for any kind of training inquiries. Thank you.